I call this meeting of Central Florida Facilitators Toastmasters Club 9958 to order. Thank you all for being here tonight. This is the time, please, let's put our cell phones in vibrate or silence. At Toastmasters, we provide supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome our thought and flesh leader for this evening, Charlie Bombalier. I picked this out especially for tonight. Life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the number of moments that take our breath away. Please stand for the pledge, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please help me welcome our great president, Mr. Jonathan Dunn.
First off, this will be my last time standing up here as president. I wouldn't say last time.
Next week.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember how the agenda worked out.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my last time during a normal meeting.
There you go.
It's been my pleasure to serve you. We have a lot to do tonight with elections and our speeches, so I'll keep this very short. I'm in charge of food next week. So we're gonna need some volunteers.
Can we discuss this after at the
At the end,
meeting?
do the election
Sure.
first.
Yeah, because we have a lot to talk about next week.
That will be great.
Thank you.
I have nothing else to say there.
That's right, you don't.
And I am going to call up to run our elections this evening, a man that I will refer to simply as the man, the myth, the legend, the Google of Toastmasters information, Stephen Morgan.
Okay, you want to do the elections this way? It's not that hard. We've all seen it all before. The key part being, if there isn't, in terms of parliamentary procedure, as long as there isn't any reason for disagreement, there's usually very little need for the procedures. What we do have are the 7 offices that we do need to have officers for the next year. I'll be asking from the top down, one by one. We'll go by each office asking for any nominations. After the nominations, we would actually vote to close nominations. That would require a motion. After that point, those who have been nominated will have the opportunity to speak. 2 minutes will give them, so that the timer can at least give you an indication. After that, if there's only one nominee, a motion to simply have the secretary cast one vote for that person is perfectly fine. It's essentially a request for acclamation. Everyone agrees, no one disobjects, then passes right through, and then we go on to the next one. By the way, the reason you go top down is because if multiple people go for a higher office, anyone who loses might want to try for a lower office. And I'll also point out it is okay and allowed, though I do not suggest it myself, for people to hold multiple offices with the specific requirement that there must be at least 3 individuals, distinct individuals, 1 president, 1 secretary, and 1 vice president, any of the vice presidents. So therefore the president cannot be the secretary, regardless of how this comes out. So, are we all set in any other questions? Okay, then at this point, floor is open for nominations for president. What nominations do we have for president? Toastmaster Tidbit.
The nominating committee nominates Charlie Bombalier for president.
You accept?
I accept.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for president? If there aren't any other nominations, any motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
Mark, second. Tony, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the nominations are closed. Tony, Charlie, since you are the only nominee, would you like to speak for the 2 minutes allotted?
Thank you.
All right.
There, Charlie.
I picked this quote, as I said earlier, because I wanted to be able to repeat it again about life. And it's so true, it's not measured by the breath that we take, it's measured by the moments that takes our breath away. And at Toastmasters, since I belong to Toastmasters, many times it has taken my breath away by the friendships that I've made here, by the great speeches that I have heard from everyone here, and by the compassion that everyone has to help everyone else that comes here. So with that, I am grateful to have an opportunity to follow in those steps as president. And I thank you all for your support. Thank you.
No other nominees, and motion for the secretary to cast one vote would be in order.
I move that the secretary cast one vote for Charlie Bongler.
Are there any objections? Not any objections, therefore, take the note in the minutes. Charlie, congratulations. Going down the line, next is Vice President of Education. Nominations, floor is open. Toastmaster Gittles.
Nominating committee nominates Micki D for Vice President of Education.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for Vice President of Education? Or any motions?
Move the nominations be closed.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the nominations closed. Micki, would you like to speak for your 2 minutes? It is optional.
No, don't tell her that.
Every time I run for an office, mention how grateful I am to Toastmasters for how much I learned. I am very, very shy. I used to be even worse than that, if it's possible. I don't know. But this club helped me. The member of the club helped me to improve my skills and to gain confidence in myself. And I'm very grateful for that. There is another other reason that I run for an office or another. I like to learn, and this is the best way to learn. Practice, practice, practice. Being involved in activities helps you learn faster than, only theory. So thank you so much for accepting me as your Vice President of Education.
No other nominations?
Move the secretary cast one vote for Micki D as Vice President of
Are
Education.
there any objections? No objections, then therefore let it be said. Make it so. Moving on to Vice President membership. Are there any nominations? Toastmaster Gittles.
Nominating committee nominates Jonathan Dunn for the position of Vice President of Membership.
Do you accept?
I accept.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for Vice President of membership? Or motions?
Move the nominations be closed.
Second. All in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
All right. Well, Jonathan, would you like your 2 minutes?
I want the 2 minutes to see if I'd actually get something in 2 minutes. I found out Charlie wanted to be president. Charlie's done a lot for me. Toastmasters has done a lot for me. I haven't had a vice president of membership for a year. I'm not a great mathematician, but mathematically it seems like a great fit to be able to help build this membership base up. Toastmasters, as like I said, it's done a lot for me. Let's try to build this base, do a lot for some other people, raise the vibrational harmony of the universe. And those are all the multitude of reasons why I decided to accept the nomination.
Not any other nominations? Any motions from the floor?
Oh, yes, that one.
Anyone can do it, doesn't have to always be Toni.
I move that the secretary cast one single vote for Jonathan as VP membership.
Are there any objections? And let it be noted in the minutes. And congratulations, Jonathan.
Thank you, Stephen.
On to Vice President Public Relations. The floor is open for nominations. Toastmaster Tidbit.
Nominating committee nominates Mark Lockery for the position of Vice President of Public Relations.
You accept. Are there any other nominations for Vice President of Public Relations?
Move the nominations be closed.
Second.
All in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then nominations are closed. Mark, would you like your 2 minutes?
I'd like my 19 seconds. I accept this nomination. I will continue to do my best as your Viper. Please feel free to call me that if you want. I will be pertinacious with my duties. And thank you.
Since he's the only nomination, any other motions from the floor?
I move that the secretary cast one single vote for Mark for VP.
Second.
Any objections? And without objection, let it be noted. The next down the line is secretary. Madam Toastmaster Giddles.
Nominating committee nominates Gail Hill-Smith for the position of treasurer. Oh, wait, what is?
Secretary.
Secretary. Oh, I nominate myself. The
Secretary.
nominating committee nominates Toni Giddles.
Can I ask if you accept? This confusion has happened a lot. I've seen it happen in even at the district level. They swap the secretary and treasurer rankings. The secretary is supposed to come before the treasurer.
I feel like I've got it for
At least according to our constitution, so it says. I assume Gil will accept, so she has indicated in, or sorry.
Oh, wait, we're doing
You,
secretary.
you're
I accept.
you're the one that way. Are there any other nominations for secretary? Move the motion to close. Second, all in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the 2 people who spoke up have it. Toni, would you like your 2 minutes?
No, 5 to 7. No, I'm just kidding. Although you don't tell me. I've had an amazing year. I started out broken as Humpty Dumpty. Mark has only known me as a cripple. Today I stand before you, 2 surgeries later, totally rehabilitated, and I danced yesterday.
Yay.
So I'm back! I'm back! Woo! I feel like a new woman. Therefore, after standing in the shadows for the past year, my goal is to up my level of participation in all areas of my life, with the primary goal being having fun. Totally. It's got to be about fun. I, by the way, am going to be serving the district, District 84, as new club coordinator for Division D, position that Gina Tykeson asked me to fulfill, and I'll be working with Scott Hone, who's the manager of that division. So my old boss from my area governor days. So we make a great team. So look for some new clubs in our division in the next 6 months so we can become distinguished. Second, I'd like to serve the club again. I'd like to be your secretary because I'm, whatever that word is, pertinacious. I know I can do it. I'm detail-oriented. I'm going to maintain the club records, manage club files, handle correspondence, take the minutes at the meetings, and inform you of what's going on in the club, communicate with you. So you've come to know me this year as the Bionic Woman. I would now like you to know me as the Bionic Club Secretary.
Yes, BCS.
I will use my superhero skills to listen attentively and carefully, take copious and accurate notes, and communicate with you regarding important club activities and accomplishments and individual achievements. I'll attend the meetings regularly, probably get here 5 minutes before the meeting starts, and support you in as many ways as I can. I will not have any further major surgical procedures between January and June 2015. please vote for me because I love this club. I love you guys. I look forward to serving you to the best of my ability. And having my 65th birthday party and dancing.
Yay.
With no other nominees, any motions from the floor?
I move we cast, we cast one vote for Toni Gibbles for VP, no, secretary.
Secretary.
Yeah,
What am I
secretary, whatever your title is. Bionic
Bionic Club
secretary.
Secretary.
Are there any objections to the motion? And let the minutes reflect Toni's election and congratulations. Now floor would be open for nominations for treasurer.
Treasurer.
Nominating committee nominates Gail Hill-Smith for treasurer of our club. She accepts.
She is accepted as I understood. Are there any other nominations for treasurer?
I move that we close the nominations.
Second.
All those in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well done. Did Gail designate someone to speak? You need more time, Toni?
Oh, I'll take less time, but I adore Gail because she's very detail-oriented. She's been an office manager for decades. She knows how to manage money. She will create a budget. We will not overspend, and I will encourage her to spend more. She's been a member of she's one of the founding members of the club. She's been treasurer before. She's held a number of officer positions. She's highly qualified, and as a team, Gail and I, as secretary and treasurer, will kick Charlie's ass and make sure the job gets done the next 6 months.
No other nominations, therefore are there any motions from the floor?
I move that we cast a single vote for Gail Hill-Smith as treasurer.
Any objections to the motion? If there are none, let the minutes reflect. Everyone should go text or email Gail now, let her know it's her problem now. At this point, the floor will be open for nominations for Sergeant at Arms.
Nominating committee nominates James Riggs as sergeant at arms.
Yes. Accept the nomination. Okay. Are there any other nominations for Sergeant at Arms?
Move nominations be closed.
Second.
All in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right then. James, would you like your 2 minutes in the spotlight?
There are two reasons I'm interested in this position. The first one is benevolent, the second one is selfish. We'll start with the good. I want to give back to all the people who helped me develop myself as a communicator. And the selfish reason is that I want to force myself to stand in front of that lectern and speak. Jessica Guthrie last week mentioned taking an officer role and being forced to stand at the front, and that was forced improvement for her. I really took notice of what she said. I believe her, and I'm looking forward to doing that myself. So I too will be pertinacious in my goals, and I appreciate you.
No other nominations? Are there any motions from the floor? No other nominees? There's only one.
I move the secretary cast one ballot for James Riggs as our sergeant at arms.
Are there any objections to the motion? Then let the minutes reflect it, and congratulations, James. Note that we do not vote for the immediate past president because Jonathan just has to step into that role, therefore all the rest of the offices are fulfilled. And that'll be your officer slate for the coming 6 months. Hopefully everyone will be here next week for our installation. And I hope you could stand me my pertinacious behavior trying to keep order in place.
Well done.
It's not that hard. As I understand it, my next job here is to introduce the Toastmaster for the evening. Our Toastmaster tonight is Micki D. Micki never believed she had the right traits to be a good leader. Too shy and insecure all her life, she always put herself in a follower's role. Still, she wanted to be at least the leader of her own life. She joined our club 4 years ago with this thought in mind. So please help me welcome competent communicator and almost a competent leader, Micki D.
Thank you, Mr. Election Leader. Dear friends, thank you very much for attending the meeting tonight. Now, before I start my role, I'd like to make sure that my lipstick is not all over my face because I put it on my lips while driving to work, to here in the dark. And I didn't have the chance to check my face yet. So hopefully now that we're recording, hopefully it's not that bad. Or at least you cannot see from there. Please don't do that.
Check the video after.
It'll be on YouTube.
You'll be amazed.
Leadership is very important for me. We cannot function properly without good leaders. I don't consider myself a leader, but I like to support, to keep close to great leaders. To be able to assist them, I need to improve my skills. Carlos Ghosn, CEO of Renault Nissan, said about being a good leader. Quote, I think that the best training a top manager can be engaged in is management by example. I want to make sure there is no discrepancy between what we say and what we do. If you preach accountability and then promote somebody with bad habits, it doesn't work. I personally believe the best training is management by example. Don't believe what I say, believe what I do. All right. Our functionaries tonight, I have to thank them very much, and I'm sorry for making changes until the last minute. We have our accountant, Mr. Charlie Bumbleier. Can you tell us a few words about your role tonight?
As the out counter, my job is to be pertinacious in tracking of audible clutches such as on, and double clutches. The repetition of a word while the speaker searches for their next thought. I will also note sentences strung together with bridge words like and or so. And I will sound a buzzer when any of these infractions are heard. The fine for each infraction is 10 cents. Guests and members who have not yet done their icebreaker will not be bossed or fined. But I will keep track of their infractions. Unfortunately, there are no guests. Thank you.
Thank you. Our grammarian tonight is Mr. Julian.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As grammarian, I have two basic responsibilities. First is to provide a word of the day to my fellow Toastmasters and guests in order to expand our vocabulary. Linda Earle has chosen the word of the day this evening, which is pertinacious. Now, how you use pertinacious is as follows. The secretary and treasurer of the club will pertinaciously kick the president's butt if he doesn't pertinaciously fulfill his duties. It means to be stubbornly purposeful in the pursuit of your goal. Now, if you have an opportunity to speak and you don't use the word of the day, that bus you will deposit 25 cents. Guests and members who have not given their icebreakers, which doesn't include anybody in here, so you're all fair game, will not be fined. So everyone will be fined this evening. I will also look, now I have been pertinaciously doing my duties even before I have given this speech. I will also listen to colorful imagery and use of exceptional vocabulary and grammar, and I will suggest improvements in grammar as needed. That's a big ticket for somebody whose English is his second language. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Our supervisor of election tonight is Linda Earth. Yes.
I was glad I didn't have anything to do with the actual election, but this part coming up, I will count the votes and present the awards to the front podium. I mean, lectern.
Thank you. And thank you for always being willing to step up and take any role we're desperate to fill. Thank you. Our timer tonight is Mr. Mark Lockery.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. There is no time like the present to let you all know I'll be working on our traffic signal tonight. There is one small change. Jonathan Dunn has requested 6 to 8 minutes for his speech. So please make note of that on the agenda. I will let you know with the green light that you've reached your range minimum, the yellow light when you've reached the midpoint, and the red light when you've reached your range maximum. Speakers tonight, Jonathan Dunn, 6 to 8 minutes, Stephen Morgan, 5 to 7 minutes, Evaluators, 2 to 3 minutes. You cannot speak less than 30 seconds, less than your minimum, or more than 30 seconds over your maximum. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Another quote that I like very much, and I'm going to tell you why first. My work sign is Gemini. One, Gemini is hardworking, pertinacious, always ready to do something, to accomplish something. The other twin is lazy and doesn't want to do anything. Luckily, the hardworking one is active at work and the lazy one is active at home, so dominates at home. So this is good. And the quote is, it is from General Dwight Eisenhower. Leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because you want to do it. Like, you have to make that person to think that it was his desire to do the work for you. And this is my goal, at least after business hours. Leader. An adjective our next speaker would have never thought would be used to describe himself. Yet, 10 years after starting his own business, our next speaker has led thousands of people away from early heart attacks, rectal disorders, saved marriages. And how, you think, you might ask? To quote 1 Corinthians 16:14, he lets all that he does be in love, and he followed what he thought was a narrow path. Please welcome our next speaker, Advanced Communicator Gold, Jonathan Dunn.
Do you remember the first time in your childhood that you were super excited? So excited that you could hardly sit still. Think about that for just a moment. Because I'm going to describe to you in a moment the first time this happened to me and the train wreck that it became. It was 1978. It was August. I was 6 years old. And I was at a brand new school, Wekiva Elementary. It was my first day. And I was in physical education class. And I had heard awesome things from my parents about joining teams and having dreams. And if you remember back to when you were 6 years old, you had lots of dreams. The world hadn't taken a big anvil and smashed it just yet. And for me, the start of those dreams was being part of a team. And as fate would have it, in physical education class, that first morning, it was a kickball lesson. And back in those days, they picked 2 captains, and the captains picked the teams. I was not one of the captains. I was one of the herd of students waiting to be picked. Got down to 3 students left. 2 females and me. The next pick goes, one of the girls goes. I'm feeling sick in my stomach. I'm feeling sweat running down my body. I'm horrified. Next girl goes. I'm standing there like I am now in front of everybody, but as somebody that nobody wanted. And I literally stood there, didn't just run to the next logical team. I waited for the one captain to go, I guess I'll take him. Pretty horrifying. And even more horrifying when I would get home and my mother would say, well, how was your first day of school, son? I felt there was absolutely no other decision but to lie to my mother. That was it. And not only that, I hurt so bad inside that I wanted to avoid all those students at all costs. So in 1978, at 6 years old, my first real dream had been dashed. And I kind of started walking a more narrow path. Because I remember when you were 6 years old, you basically do everything you can to avoid things that hurt. My father had always taught me to be pertinacious. And in 1982, we'll fast forward, it was a brand new day, at a brand new school, Peak Middle School, and I had the opportunity, once again, to be part of that whole teamwork makes dream works movement. And not only that, I was going to make up for lost time, join Pop Warner football, and go for the pinnacle position as quarterback of the team. My father had me convinced that I had a natural gift of throwing the ball. And I went to practice the first day. The coach stood up, did roll call. He referred to me as not only John Dunn, but Dynamite Dunn. Things were starting to look up. Right up until he asked me what position I wanted to play, and I said, quarterback, sir, I'm ready and willing. He asked me to turn around in a circle. He said, Dynamite, you look more like a left guard to me. A very unglorified part of the team. Turns out, at 11 years old, I was introduced to nepotism for the very first time. His son was the quarterback. We didn't win a game that year. And I'm 100% sure my absolute hatred of all figures of authority started that day. And I do use the word hatred, because I would pretty much go rogue at that point. Once again, I wanted to avoid all those kids because I wasn't going to play football again the next year, and I didn't want to be queried on why not. So my path, once again, got more narrow. I had these kids to avoid, I had these kids to avoid, and I kind of only had one direction to go in. Now when I hit 16, it was time to get a job. And it was to be a bag boy at public supermarkets. And admittedly, I had a pretty good time at public supermarkets. Right up until you guessed it, the manager recognized this talent inside of me. And he said, "John, we'd like you to join our full-time stock crew. Be part of a team. You could be a manager." Our managers, they get stock options, and as I was pertinacious, I decided, yet again, to give it a try. On my 21st birthday, I finally achieved full-time status. I was called back to the machine they have in the back room that takes the cardboard and smashes it into a little box to be sent back to recycle. When I was called back, I was gang tackled by all of the members of the stock crew. My pants and underwear were pulled out of my ankles, and I was beaten with a meat tray. Every spank, 21 of them, I got to hear, "Welcome to the team." I will say I wish Morgan & Morgan had their commercials back then. I probably would be very wealthy at this point. But instead, I looked at it as another sign from the universe that I wasn't meant to be part of a team. This really sealed the deal. I was no longer going to be pertinacious. I made the decision that day, when I finished college, I'm going off on my own. I don't want to be part of any stinking team. I really hate people. The universe had bigger plans for me. That was to go off on my own. I was very sensitive at that point. And as I thought it would be attractive to girls, I picked a profession that allowed me to help people lose weight. I thought it would be attractive to ladies. And as I was doing this, I started healing because I was serving. It was an unintended consequence. And while I was serving, I began to share my story about what had happened with myself to one of my clients, a Toastmaster, Jeremy Udell. This guy had undergone a radical transformation, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I called up Stephen Morgan, and I was invited to a club meeting, and I came. And then later on, I was asked to be part of a team of leaders, of officers. But this time, and these people don't even know it, I've always been very impressed by Stephen and the way he serves. Charlie serves. And I thought, maybe this is for real finally. And I joined. And it's been everything I've ever dreamed about. And I've learned finally that my voice does matter, and that teamwork does make dreams work. But most importantly, fellow Toastmasters, I learned that I've never been on a narrow path. The universe has been directing me on a very abundant path to right here. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jonathan. Excellent performance as usual. You are very natural. I don't know how much you practice at home, but you do a great job. Now, Mr. Simon, can we have a minute for comments for Jonathan's speech?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Meanwhile, I try to be pertinent in my job, creating the agenda for tonight. And you'll see that on the back of the agenda, there is some information that is useful, I hope. Thank you. Just another speech, you think? Indeed, you would be right. Yet, also, it's a parable to bring us all inside. Listen closely to the story, trying to catch the gist. Please help me welcome Stephen Morgan with the potential catalyst.
Tell me, do you hear that strange and unexpected sound? 'Tis an eaglet fallen from her nest down to the ground. Madam Toastmaster, how do you teach an eaglet flight? Fellow Toastmasters, she knows she's capable of great height. Little eaglet, 'tis true I do not know how to fly. If you listen, I can teach you how to try. You have wings, have them do as I have my arms do. Yes, it looks quite silly since I never before flew. Notice that you've already made it to the top of that old log. Now try for this higher branch. It's such an easy jog. Realize how far you've risen already from the floor. Tap your unrealized potential. Spread your wings and soar. Is there any greater high than flying on your own? Yes. The feeling you get when your eaglet has first flown. When your flight returns to earth, you're deafened by a roar! Caterwauling from a bear, a massive full-grown boar, writhing painfully from a gash deep into his thigh. Keep your distance, because one boss wipe and you'll be bye-bye. I can tell that wound will take a long while here to heal. Meanwhile, this poor bear can't hunt or catch one single meal. Weakened from his hunger, he'll likely die of thirst. All his vaunted strength and power now become his curse. Water I can bring him, and food that he can eat. I can be his strength till he can stand on his own feet. Once he's healed, he can return to his own hunting tract. He can pay me back by leaving me safe and intact. Failure's hard, but with success you must take greater care. Suffering lost potential's hard for anyone to bear. What was that? Did you see that slight movement in the grass? A viper! Quickly! Run away before it bites you! Fear me not, it says. I'm not the snake I was in youth. I can't hurt a soul now. I've just lost my last tooth. 'Tis the greatest goal any snake hopes to achieve. I'll starve before long, and there's no one that should grieve. All my life, I've lived and hunted this entire dell. All the stories I could share, if I had the time and someone to tell. Stories of a snake's life. All the lessons it has learned. It has no idea of the vast knowledge it has earned. I will listen to its stories till its final breath. Then I'll spread them far and wide, long after its death. In us all are hidden potential abilities. Even snakes within have some redeeming qualities. You are in the story, as is everyone you know. Figure out for each which role is proper to bestow. Answer this one question, that's all that is essential. Which character epitomizes your innate potential? First eaglet sought to fly, though she had not yet flown. Then the bear whose wounds kept him from hunting on his own. Third, the snake that lost its tooth had wisdom it had missed. Then the fourth, who helped them, the potential catalyst. Find out for yourself, each guest every Toastmaster. Of these four, which are you? Madam Toastmaster.
Steven, I have to say that you have an impressive memory. I cannot even even remember what I did yesterday.
That is far easier and the easiest speech I ever learned to memorize than anything in
Oh,
prose, as it
my.
turned out.
Good, thank you. May we have a minute for comments for Stephen's speech?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
1 minute.
Thank you. Mr. Timer, may we have the timer's report?
Inspired by Stephen's speech. Jonathan Dunn's speech was great. He spoke for 8 minutes and 28. Stephen Morgan's was also great. He spoke for 4:48. Both of them qualified.
Thank you. And now please vote for the best speaker. And we'll move on to our next segment of the meeting, Table Talks. Toni Gitters has been a member of Central Florida Facilitators since 2004. Toni joined Toastmasters in order to learn techniques to be a more entertaining speaker. The leadership track did not particularly interest her. Jessica Guthrie and Tim Chastain, the co-founders of the club, saw her potential in leadership and encouraged her to become an officer. Over the years, she has served as president, VP Education, VP Membership, VP Public Relations, and secretary. Her 4 terms as president taught her the most about interpersonal relationships, leadership, and that it's okay to not know what you are going to do as long as you listen, learn, and are coachable. Please welcome our table topics master tonight, distinguished Toastmaster Toni Gitters.
Woo! I feel good about today. Okay. Table topics.
We all know.
Thank you. Done. Leadership. We are leaders. You are all eligible for a table topics topic. However, not all of you will be called up. The first question. In your opinion, what is the biggest leadership challenge you will face in the next 6 months? Charlie Baumelaire.
Madam Toastmaster, thank you for asking me that particular question. And I'm going to be frank here and tell you that my biggest fear, is that what you asked for? The
Biggest challenge.
biggest
Leadership
challenge is not to get bloody beaten by you and Jim. And because of that fear, I am going to do my very best each and every week to be at the top of my game and to make Toastmasters proud to have another consecutive president keeping up the good work that our previous presidents have done. In saying that, I'm going to make sure, thank you, I'm going to make sure that as your president, I will make each and every one of you proud. With that, I shall take a seat because I just saw the green light.
What have you learned about leadership while serving as an officer in this club or in another leadership position outside of Toastmasters? Julian Cotto!
Leadership requires confidence. Best leadership are people that are confident. You have to lay out your course and you have to pursue it confidently. You can't waver. You can't have second thoughts. Well, you do have second thoughts, but you have to persist and you have to pursue and you have to keep moving forward. The best leaders have a vision and they have confidence in achieving that vision. The pastor at Church in the Sun, Alex Klattner, he used to lead the Calvary Assembly years ago. I asked him, what makes a great leader? Now, he's been in leadership. He's a great leader. He had the #1 youth group, not only in Central Florida, but in the whole country. And this was an older guy, had all these, the biggest youth group in the whole country. And I asked him, Pastor, what is it that makes a great leader? All he said was confidence. You've got to be confident in yourself and in what you are pursuing. Madam Table Topics.
Related to leadership, what do you think our club has done well this year? Linda Earls.
It's very embarrassing that I'm stumped, but it doesn't mean anything. I don't know why, that's a stumper. We do a lot of things well. I'm trying to think of the really big thing. Let's see. I think we do our parties pretty darn good. That sounds kind of lame because that's not why we're here, to party. But we do have fun and we do have fellowship and things not directly related to learning, which make for a good group. And then you can buckle down and learn together, but you also have fun and you enjoy each other, which I don't think that's so bad. Sorry, I didn't think of it right away, but so A, I think we do a good job getting to know each other and fellowshipping and have fun, party. We even have wine. That's got to be, I mean, how many clubs have wine at their events? I can't believe it. I wish I could trust myself to drive and drink, but the very first time I did that, I went to a union meeting. I worked at a factory job. I went to a union meeting, and they gave you a free drink ticket. Well, I took my free drink ticket and had my free drink, and then when I didn't stay very long, I didn't buy any additional drinks, and I went out and I was parked in the corner, and pulling out of the parking spot, I hit the edge of a truck bumper, and it made the little plastic thing come out, and I thought, oh, I can't believe it. So I went back in, and I found a person, and I said, I hit the bumper of a truck out there, do you think I should tell somebody about it? And he said, well, let me go look at it. And it was actually his truck too, which was really sneaky. So he went out there and he gave it a kick and it popped right back into place. I was so thrilled. And he said, nah, I wouldn't even worry about it. Go on and head home. But then the next thing I did was stop right in the middle of an intersection instead of back where you're supposed to in front of the light. So it was not a good idea for me to drink all the way around. And that's the conclusion of my what we do right.
How are you going to contribute to the leadership of this club in the next 6 months? Micki.
First of all, I would like to add to Linda's answer what we did great in this term was to be the ground for 2 champions to rise. We have them here with us. You made us very proud. What I'm going to do in the next term, trying to keep up with my duties. Unfortunately, I keep falling behind, but you know, tomorrow is always a better day, so I keep hoping. I started to understand better the structure of Toastmasters and the procedures, and I think it's getting easier for me to keep track of communication and leadership progress for each member of the club. And Easy Speak helps me greatly. I love that. I love Easy Speak. I would like to be very active, not only as VPE, but as a member. And I would like to be a friend to you. Thank you.
I'm going to read you a quote. I'd like you to comment on it as it relates to your life. Some men have thousands of reasons why they cannot do what they want to, when all they need is one reason why they can. Susan Morgan.
Table topics master. Wow, that's a powerful statement. And I think it's probably very true, and it's probably very true about me. I always think, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, can't do the other thing. But then I have people like you, like my husband, who says, yes, you can. And I start thinking, maybe that is really powerful. And I really like that quote, and I think I'll be using it. Madam Table Topics Master.
Our last table topics for the evening. Another quote. Comment on this as it relates to your life. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Mark Lockery. Yes, no problem. Comment on this quote as it relates to your life. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader.
Well, Madam Table Topics Master, I believe actions speak multitudes more than words. Growing up, my parents, especially my dad, would always tell me, don't do that, you're going to screw it up. Don't do that, you're going to screw it up. And that really meant a lot to me as a young, impressionable mind. But my mom's actions always led me down a different path. She let me make mistakes. She let me go play outside and get dirty and learn the mistakes that a young boy makes so I could learn and grow up. My dad never really gave me that opportunity. So now that I have 4 kids of my own, I really try to let my actions speak louder than my words. And every now and then, when I go to say something to one of my kids, I have to think first, because partly my dad's words want to come out of my mouth, and I have to think of what my mom did to me growing up. And I try to do the same thing to my kids. We see it all the time, even in politics. The politicians will say anything they can to get elected. But then once they get elected, their actions speak way louder. And if we as constituents would just remember what their actions were and stop listening to what they say, this country would be a lot better place. Madam Table Topics.
Thank you, everyone, for participating in Table Topics. We'll have a timers report.
Charlie Bombalier, biggest leadership challenge, 1 minute and 7 seconds, he qualifies. Julian Cotto, what have you learned He spent 1 minute and 29 seconds telling us, and he qualifies. Linda Earls, what has our club done well, which turned into a PSA for drinking and driving? 2 minutes and 9 seconds, she qualifies. Micki D, how are you going to contribute? 1 minute and 16 seconds, she qualifies. Susan Morgan, one reason why she can, I only had you at 38 seconds, I don't think that qualifies. And myself, actions and words, 1 minute and 30 seconds, I qualify. Madam Tabletop.
Thank you. Please vote for the individual you feel deserves the Best Table Topic Speaker Award this evening. And Micki D, please come to the lectern.
We are leaders. What does it take to be a great leader, besides hard work, courage, and common sense? What do great leaders do to be so successful? Great leaders provide inspiration. Great leaders teach and learn. Great leaders are humble. They listen to people and tackle challenges. And here at Toastmasters, we learn how to do just that. Moving on to our next segment of the meeting, the evaluations part. Our general evaluator tonight is Susan Morgan. Susan was dragged to Toastmasters by her husband, Steven, and is very glad he introduced her to this wonderful group. Toastmasters has helped her in so many ways, and she is glad to give back by providing her personal opinion on what we did well and what, if anything, could be improved upon. Time flies when you are having fun, and it's hard to believe that Susan has been a Toastmaster for almost 9 years now. She is happy to use her experience to help evaluate the meeting tonight and introduce our esteemed evaluators. Please help me welcome our general evaluator for this evening, distinguished Toastmaster, Susan Morgan.
Thank you, everyone. I think we all know from my introduction and from there being no guests tonight what my job is this evening. So I am going to make it quick this evening so we can get on to our other things that we need to get on to, and start with our first evaluator. This evening's first evaluator is proud to be a member of Central Florida Facilitators for 2 important reasons. 1, the respectable quality of its membership, and 2, the personal improvement in public speaking that he has experienced as a result of attending meetings. Tonight, he's honored to provide his assessment of Jonathan Dunn's speech titled The Narrow Path. Please help me welcome to the lectern, James Rose.
2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Adam, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and Jonathan Dynamite Dunn. Your speech tonight reminded me of a Robert Frost poem. You took me, and I'm sure most of the people in this room, through a whole range of emotions. It started with uproarious laughter. I will tell you, I've never heard rectal disorder in a Bible verse in the same sentence before, but it was great. The opposite end of that was through heartbreaking disappointments that you experienced in your youth. If you were to ask, were the objectives of this project met, I would answer yes. The words were certainly clear, the sentence structure was very distinct, and you had excellent choices of phrases. There were a few that really stuck with me. Remember when you were 6, you had lots of dreams, and the world had not taken an anvil and smashed them yet. That's vivid. I was introduced to nepotism for the first time. And the heartfelt one where you were healing through serving. They were great. You grabbed our attention and you held on to it. Lest I be accused of a whitewash, I'm going to give some criticism on the opening. You normally stand in the center of a room in dead silence for a long pause. That grabs our attention. This time you had a little bit of a struggle as you looked over at Toni and said, "You cracked me up." Granted, I couldn't stop laughing at that point either. There's my 2 cents. In my closing, I will say your closing was awesome. You brought a purpose to your pain. You made us all gather and rally in support of you. The universe most definitely has big plans for you, and we appreciate all that you do here. Jonathan, dynamite done.
And this evening, our second evaluator jumped in at the very last second, so we don't have an intro for her, but we will invite her up to the lectern. Please help me welcome our esteemed evaluator, Sarah Hunt. Thank you, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, no guests, but Stephen. You're right, that was a very interesting story, and I enjoyed it very much. The potential catalyst. I'm afraid of all those animals, by the way. The outcomes of the speech was to use resources to entertain that were not Stephen's, but they were collected from somewhere else. And what I liked and enjoyed was there was one poem. It wasn't a collection of quotes, anecdotes, lots of stories all jumbled in. It was one poem. Great opening, strong vocal variety as you described that eagle so well. There were other things I thought strengthened your speech. First, and this was mentioned before, the memorization was remarkable. I thought this might only be a paragraph or two, and then it continued as I realized the entire speech was done flawlessly, and there was no tripping up of words. So you clearly have a fantastic memory. I don't doubt you rehearsed this very well, and the audience appreciates it when a speaker comes up that well prepared. The hand gestures were very strong. I thought they were purposeful. You had a lot of strong, especially the wingspan of an eagle. When you were thoughtful, you had your hands up to your chin. I noticed that throughout, and that strengthened your speech. A couple of areas that I felt you could improve upon. You did have lots of vocal variety, but I noticed the trend that the vocal variety, when you escalated, whether it was the shrilling of the eagle or the roar of a bear and the snake, all happened as you were introducing those animals, and then it faded. And it became not monotone, but the eagle was a softened, consistent voice throughout. So the vocal variety, especially the first two animals, ended up just being that first sentence and didn't space it throughout the messaging. The second area I thought you could improve was to use less words in the summary as you were describing each of the animals. I got lost when the message for the eagle was failure. If you had said eagle, failure, bear, and what that word, instead of some sentence, and I was trying to write, and I didn't remember all of each of the four animals. Overall, though, fantastic speech. I thank you for sharing, and I like the analogies of using a poem and incorporating those animals. I think you picked a beautiful poem, and it was a beautiful speech. Mr. Lockery, can we please have a timer review?
minutes and 40 seconds to qualify. Sarah Hunt, 2 minutes and 57 seconds. She also qualifies.
All right. Please go ahead and vote, and Linda will be around to collect your ballots in a few minutes. Well, our meeting, let's see, I'm going to start with our counter, I think. Mr. Charlie Bombalier.
Not too bad tonight. I only was able to get Micki with 2 offs now. And the next one, actually Jonathan Dunn didn't do any ahs and ums, but his laughter should be counted.
Yeah.
Linda Earls, 1 ah and 2 double pluses. Susan Morgan, 1 ah. And 1 and. James, you only got 1 ah. And Sarah, 1 and. And that's it.
All right.
$5 from each.
And Julian, you are a grammarian. Please let us know about
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. This evening was full of colorful phrases. And as I said before, I was pertinacious because I started taking note of colorful phrases even before, while the meeting was still in its inception. Charlie had a great colorful phrase right at the beginning. He said, put your cell phone and vibrator on silent. Now I did notice a bunch of some of you squirming in your chairs, so I know you did not have your vibrator on silence. He also said, it makes me proud. Great job, Charlie. Stephen Morgan had some colorful phrases. The secretary casts a vote of acclamation and then it passes right through. I wish at my age it did pass right through in an acclamation, Stephen, but it doesn't work that easy. But you may have something there. You could market that. You had so many colorful phrases that it would be hard for me to write them all, but hunted in the dell. I learned a lot of stuff, you know. Answer this one question. I can't even, but it was a great colorful phrase. Mark Lockery, 4 kids of my own. And he also had a plethora of colorful phrases, which it would be too many to mention. James Riggs, purpose to your pain. Very good. And in my closing, I will bring your closing. Yeah. Toni Giddles, I went dancing. Awesome. I know that that's a big step for you. Dream more, learn more, do more. Excellent quote. Linda Earls. Now, Linda, I'm going to say this colorful phrase, but I'm going to preface it with next time you say that, be very careful where your eyes are looking and who you're talking to. I don't know why, but that's a stomper. I don't know. Maybe it's just, I'm all Latin, my mind's kind of warped.
Yeah, we know where your mind is.
Always in the gutter. I was amazed that Linda was an alcoholic. I would have never guessed that one. Sarah Hunt, she's got such beautiful, proper English accent that just about everything she says is colorful and proper. But I did like the word messaging. That was very well placed in her speech. Micki D, I love easy speak. Yes, the only person that I've ever heard say that thing. I'm getting to hate it myself. But I'm glad you love it. Susan Morgan said a phrase that she probably says quite often to Stephen. I'm going to make it a quick one this evening. I don't know, it just sounded like you had a lot of phrase. I don't know, just John Donne, train wreck, the narrow path, teamwork makes dream work, and dynamite done. And that I'm generally right.
Our meeting has been really good. It started on time. And, should we vote for most improved? Let's go ahead and do that while I'm talking about the meeting. I really loved the thing, Micki. It was really perfect. Our elections went quickly and smoothly, I thought. It was a great job, Stephen. Our functionaries did a wonderful job. I noticed that they all were quick and to the point about their roles, and that was nice. I did note that there were a couple of light lapses on the lighting table, but just keep your eye on that. Our table topics were wonderfully done. They were, the questions were done very enthusiastically, which I enjoyed very much, and they were very thoughtful, so thank you, Toni, for that. And I'm going to evaluate our evaluators just a little bit. James, I love that you started with a quote. That was wonderful. And I thought you did an excellent job not busting out in uncontrollable laughter. So, kudos. You had great positive feedback, and you had some good suggestions, as well as Sarah, you had great feedback, as well as some really good improvement suggestions that I think Stephen will be able to use very well in his speech again. That is my job for this evening, so I am very proud to present our president, Jonathan Beck.
All right, great meeting tonight, lots of laughter, another great tool for healing. I know there's a roll sheet floating around for the 17th. Looks like it stopped on Godo.
17.
Yeah.
Do we have a location?
Oh yeah, we don't have the 17th, do we? That's right, forget that.
Unless we have a location, we're not doing the 17th.
That means we're really not meeting until January after next week, isn't it?
Yep.
Wow. Yes,
Well,
Toni?
we had talked about, a few of us at least, had talked about maybe going out to dinner or having an evening out if it's not too close to your other festivities. So does anyone want to do that? Consider a local
On the
restaurant.
17th?
Yeah,
Sure.
Christmas party?
yeah, party after the
I
party.
mean, I would be into that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Any ideas for where to go? Anybody have a favorite place?
We'll just have to ponder it.
I saw that hibachi buffet.
I saw that too.
Yeah, I don't know
Should we
if
try
that'd be
it?
a good price, but.
It's gotta be something for everybody there.
Did you see our old meeting spot shut down?
Yeah.
TGI Fridays?
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, Friday's closed
Yes.
all day.
Oh, my goodness,
Yeah, they
no.
closed
Yeah.
all the ones that were not franchises. They only kept the franchises.
Oh, my goodness.
The ones owned by TGIF got shut down. They were making money.
Okay. All right, any other ideas for dinner? Where we go?
I mean, Amigos there would be great just because it's close, I mean, it's close to my, I don't care.
I love it.
I love it.
Amigos would be good though.
Possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just right there, you know, a few minutes down the road. Kind of close to where others, I guess.
Where's it at?
Westmont.
It's across from
It's where
TGI Fridays.
It's where,
Oh,
near where
oh, oh.
Fridays used to be.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
where there's a wing house back there. It's,
Oh,
it's, yeah, it's like,
yes,
it's
yeah.
really, it's right where
Is
TGI
that-
Fridays
Is
was.
that strictly Mexican?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah, they've got plain foods there as well, though.
Plain?
Yeah, because my kids wouldn't go
Steak?
otherwise.
Filet mignon.
You can go under though, I mean, I'm not selling that, but I do love it.
Okay. You gonna be there?
I'll try to be there.
James? Yeah? You have a
Mexican's
preference?
good with me.
We got a couple weeks to put it together.
Okay. I'll send an email out. Or Micki, that's your job. Oh, no.
Sergeant
You're
Yards
right.
handles the
I'll do
social
it.
media.
I'll do it. I'll do it. What do we got here? Oh, really?
I'm gonna talk about food for a second.
Oh, December 17th?
Okay.
But we're not speaking.
Oh, okay.
We need somebody,
Who wants to speak
And
at
I
our
was,
dinner meeting?
I was wrong.
I signed up to speak.
Okay, you guys can speak. We'll speak.
Is it
No,
dinner
no,
or
no,
no, no, we don't need to.
No, it's no meeting.
Toasts.
We'll,
Toast.
we'll have toasts and do
Favorite
friendly
Toastmaster
table,
memories.
friendly
Okay.
table topics.
I need somebody to bring sodas next week. Does anybody want to bring sodas?
Mr. Dr. Pepper over there.
I can bring more than Dr. Pepper.
I'll be fine if you just bring Dr.
I can
Pepper.
bring Diet Dr. Pepper as well.
Okay, so Mark and James are gonna bring some sodas, whatever you think of. You guys can coordinate between each other to not duplicate. I believe I heard Susan say you were gonna bring wine, is that correct?
There's a budget for the wine. Do you just want to bring like a bottle of wine, or do you want to?
I'll just bring some, I'll bring some
7 bottles of
and
wine? We have a $100 budget set aside
Oh,
for
yeah,
wine. That's
there's-
about what I spent.
Mixed into the sodas part two with Mark and James, some more water. Somebody to bring chips, dips, salsa, guacamole, and hummus. I'm gonna put myself down for that unless somebody's dying to go out and buy chip, dip, salsa, guacamole, and hummus.
Go for it.
Okay? Charlie, I haven't looked back there, but I'm guessing we're gonna need somebody to bring like paper, cups, utensils.
I'll have
plates.
the decorations person coordinate,
Okay,
because it'll be nice to have something
All right.
matching with
that works.
the theme.
We need some folks to bring some desserts.
Okay, usually we order a cake. Do we want to
Okay.
do that?
Or cake.
Did you do that last time? Who ordered the cake?
Cake or cupcakes?
Yes.
Got Publix right here.
Or, yeah, it looks right here.
Yeah, we ordered cake last time.
And there can be other desserts, or,
Yeah, if you wanna bring something cute, bring it.
Dessert.
yeah, that's pretty much.
I think it will be something.
I can think of the turkey and the ham.
Okay, now, I knew turkey and ham was part of it, and I figured this person could order this as well. A cheese plate and a vegetable plate, because I'm guessing it would probably all come from the same place.
Now, turkey and ham are coming from Honey Baked Ham,
Okay,
Not the same place.
not the same place then.
Publix,
Where the cake comes from.
where the cake comes from.
So, who's
You
gonna
know,
order?
Pat Stogner can help you. Let's call Pat, because she'll be here and she lives right down
I
there.
was thinking to take care of the turkey and ham. I can go buy.
I would rather do a cheese plate than a dessert.
Do it.
And I can order.
Okay.
It'll still be dessert.
Yeah,
We can, I can take care of the cake. I can do the cake.
okay.
My downfall.
You getting all this?
Yeah, I've got it all written down, but if you're writing it down, your handwriting will be better than mine.
Yeah, and this-
I'm gonna bring a
your
case of
backup.
water.
Okay, did you hear that?
Yeah,
Char-
Charlie.
And you know what, I mean, if you do double up on that, it's not a bad thing, we need extra, so.
Yeah.
Now, knowing this is not, well, and I want to predetermine that it's gonna be a small thing, is I don't think it's gonna be, but does that basically cover everything we need from a food standpoint?
Veggies or something healthy?
No, I said that,
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah.
who's got that? Gail usually brings a salad or something in that category.
Okay, well, you know what, I shouldn't say, because Linda said she'll bring a cheese plate, and I kind of
Yeah.
lumped her in that in the same
Okay.
category.
Cheese is not necessarily the healthy option.
Yeah.
No, that's an anti-healthy.
Okay,
Okay.
so yeah,
Why don't you send around an email with what the people
Yeah.
have signed up for, and then we'll put Pat's name, put Gail for something else.
sure.
Wait, is Gail gonna be back?
I'm sorry?
Gail's gonna be back?
Yeah, she's
She's just visiting this week.
She's here.
Yeah, did you just go back?
Well, she's in charge of the decorations, so
That's-
if she's not.
Yes.
I can address the number of people that we have so far.
Did you get my thing that John Robertson, I guess, will be here, and he really will, he's doing great, everybody.
Oh, awesome.
He's doing really great.
I thought I would read the people that have confirmed, and in case it's changed for those of you that are here, plus any guests that you might have. And then it also lets you know some of the other people that are coming from outside of the club. John Dunn, I've got you and 4 guests, 5. Charlie B, 5.
5.
And this is okay if it's approximate and they're not confirmed. I'm with my mother's coming, so there's 2. Julian, 1.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2. Okay, Gail, 2. Morgan's, 2 for now.
We might have another 2.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Mark, 3.
Me plus 2.
You plus 2, that's 3. Okay, Linda, 1. Pat Stogner, 1. John Roberts, 2. Tim Rickey, 1. We have Dennis Woldridge as our keynote speaker. Got him as 1. Gina Tykeson, who's our Division D governor, is 2. She'll bring her husband. Paul Detloff, our area governor, will bring his wife, they're 2. Renee Kassoff from the ACE Advanced Club, RSVP'd, and Ashley Williams from the Articulators Club. I don't know if you've sent out to your other clubs, you still can, it's not a problem. So we're at 32 to 34 at this point. So I really kind of expect all of these to show up. We have an occupancy of 65. I've sent out a number of responses and there's 2 responses. So I don't expect it to be huge. But
That sounds pretty good.
I will update everybody who's bringing food, so you don't bring twice as much.
How many do you have so far that you have there?
Total 32.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a good sized group actually.
Could somebody reach out to Steve Block?
I'll give him a call.
He's somebody that's on the top of my head right now. Mihaela Dumitrescu?
Wow. Oh, more about the banquet?
Yes, because she said she had a bunch of stuff, so.
Oh, you have stuff about the banquet?
When we were talking about food, I said I would bring up platters, veggies, and
Okay.
I will order the cake.
Okay. Got it.
That's a good combination.
Okay, have you all seen the invitation? that Mark
Yeah, it's
put together?
great. It's really
Thank you, Mark.
fantastic.
He really took the lead on that with Micki's support. Mickey, are you going to do the program?
Yes, I'm working on it.
Okay, and so it'll look something like that. The theme is celebrating our achievements. We've got a black and white, semi-formal theme. Gail's in charge of the decorations. She has not had a chance to do anything or check in with me because of Carl Ryder's death, and she's really helping plan this celebration for Saturday and assisting Carl's wife with that. PA system, Steve, you had offered to bring in something. Mark, you had said you could borrow something from the church. Do we think we need it at this point?
I don't think we need
We didn't before,
I
and
think
we
with
had
that
more
small,
people.
yeah. Okay, so we'll pass on that. Got the keynote. Susan, you're going to be doing the trophies. I'll send you an email tonight with information. So we'll be determining the award winners and also the presenters. So chances are real good if you won an award last time, we're going to ask you to present.
I need new presenters.
This is what I have for last time, so just one of the peoples aren't here. Most improved was Ed Clark, Tim Chastain was myself, impromptu was Mark, winning coach James Riggs, speaker John, Janine Stroud was Charlie, outstanding facilitator was Micki. Actually, can I just confirm you'll all do that, present the award if it's not you again?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sounds good. Anyone like to present the most improved?
You need to know who's
They are.
winning because you don't want the person winning.
Well, I know, I'm just, we can fix it later. All right, I've kind of looked at it, so.
You'll look at that.
Sarah sent me the tracking report.
Okay, well, we'll fill that in later. So you'll get an email probably this evening or tomorrow.
You need
Not
other
the
announcements?
winner, well, you'll get individual emails if you're going to be presenting and who you're going to be presenting to.
Do you have any other announcements?
Is there anyone for a cleanup crew?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody, so I have to clean up. I also need a greeter downstairs,
Yeah.
and we didn't apparently find that sign.
Yeah, I don't know, I have to,
Is there
I don't know where it
any,
went.
yeah, we had a chalkboard out there. Do you think we need that last time? That kind of greeting
Yeah.
and a sign-in sheet. James, can you do that?
How
Oh,
long
you
do
don't know
have
if you're
to
gonna
be
be
there?
here.
No, I'll be here.
Oh, you
but,
will? Okay.
I'm
You
off
probably
at work
need-
at 6. then.
I would
Oh,
do
okay.
that.
I can make
That's fine
a,
by myself.
I can make a sign and we can use one of these easels and put it
Yeah,
downstairs.
we
Might
probably
want
need
little
two
sheet,
greeters.
little small signs just to stick on the wall, right, in front of the elevator, right here in the corner.
Yeah, well,
Tony,
we'll have like the,
Here's your
what's that commercial where
You just
the
stay
green
down
light goes
there
on the
until
side?
about when it starts? Is that what you do?
CarMax or something.
Yeah.
Is that- Wait, there's a question here. What is
No,
it?
I'm just saying we probably need two greeters, one downstairs and one
At the
upstairs.
door?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I think
people
that'd be
come
They
up
get
here.
lost when they come out of the
They get
elevator, they don't know
lost.
which way to
Right.
go.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Well, we'll have signs, so if we don't have greeters, we'll at least have signs up here directing them.
And somebody will have a sign-in sheet so that we know with the names or at least the numbers of people we're expecting. So that, I want you to be here at the beginning of the meeting and not have to be down there, but we may want to be on the lookout for somebody that hasn't arrived. John, are you guys going to be coming with you or separate?
I mean, the only two that would potentially get lost, they're both doctors, so they're not gonna get lost, they're gonna be fine.
Okay, that sounds good.
We're smart.
We got it all then.
Does Gail have people to help with decorations since she's gonna be?
No, not yet. She hasn't called anybody or solicited any assistance, but you had volunteered a while back.
Yeah, I mean,
So I-
that's good, but I haven't heard anything that's.
No, she has not been available to work on it yet. She'll put it together tomorrow probably, or Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday, yeah.
Sunday.
Probably Sunday after Carl's.
Yeah.
She's very busy right now, so it's okay, it'll get done. And, the room looks nice, but she'll probably do a lot.
Well, I'm gonna be here,
Fix it
I'm gonna come tomorrow.
You're gonna be here. I think the whole thing is, the meeting starts at 6:45 like it normally does. As many people that can get here at 6, you'll probably get here at 5:30, or Gail will be here early as well. As many people as can help out with
We
that.
don't
I'll
know.
get Gail to send out emails. She'll be good at that, she'll send lots of
We,
emails.
we really don't know yet how this is gonna be set up, because this was for a special occasion they did.
Okay, well, that's a good question for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her.
Well, and because there is, that networking group that has lunch here is gonna be on the 11th. It's gonna be the following day, so it'll probably be set up with the round tables.
Right.
We just need,
We need to talk them ahead.
Um,
because we're gonna
Charlie's
be
gonna-
moving it all if it's here.
yeah, Charlie is gonna confirm tomorrow that it's a banquet, not just a meeting, and just find out what we have to do.
And we do, I think I mentioned already, that we do have use of the kitchen if we need it.
Right. With less people, we may not have to all get that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, great, thanks, Cheryl. Send an email to everybody, or will you be at your computer, or just send me a text and I'll.
Any other announcements?
That's good.
Tony, I need your approval on something. I'm serious about this. I heard this story this morning and it really moved me crazy. It's a small world we live in, and it's a story about Carl Ryder. It'll take about 60 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
A lot of you in the room have met Carl Ryder. I've met him briefly a couple times. I don't know the man besides that he passed away this weekend. And I trained a guy at 5 o'clock this morning who's one of the greatest human beings you'd ever meet in your entire life. His name's Charlie Clayton. His family pretty much settled Winter Park. And Carl, 2 weeks ago, and I don't know his background, I don't know his relationship, but he stepped into Charlie's church, and Charlie's an elder at his church, and they happened to meet each other, and Carl wanted to basically turn over every stone to try to extend his life. Charlie's one of those people that would do anything for anyone that he doesn't know, with no agenda. And he agreed to pray with Carl. Then I go to a men's Bible study, and a couple of them agreed to pray with Carl throughout whatever the rest of his life looked like. And I think it was Saturday that Carl died, correct?
Right.
Well, whichever day it was, one of the people from our Bible study was with Carl as he was expiring. Carl's wife, understandably, was very upset. Can you please calm him down? Why can't anybody calm him down? And the Bible study guy prayed over him and prayed over him. And Carl reached his arms up several times, and I'm sure there's people there that you can verify this story with. His wife was very upset. Can you please calm him down? Can you please calm him down? Carl opened his eyes, and he said, Jesus is reaching out for me. I have no agenda on this speech. I'm merely reciting exactly what I heard. And I see angels, and he's asked me to get into a restful position. He closed his eyes, crossed his arms over his chest, and went to sleep forever. Take the story for what it's worth. But it's the truth. It's the truth. Meeting is adjourned.
On that note.
Went up and I dropped the ball. My cat.
You have to reopen the meeting now.
No.
Stephen will tell you how to do it.
Now we need a new word of the day.
Nobody will tell.
The Tim Chastain Award winner this evening. It's going to go to Micki because I know she grinded to put this meeting together.
Love the agenda.
Table topics.
Lord.
Everybody really did great tonight on table topics. I don't know how there was a winner. It had to be divided. But it's going to go to Mark Lockery.
All right.
Most improved goes to Micki D Rescue. She's been really cleaning up the awards this time. Thank you. Great evaluations this evening. Once again, I don't know how somebody picked a winner,
Yeah.
but it's going to go to Sarah Hunt.
All right.
And then the best speaker this evening goes to the Catalyst.